Hi everyone, Drini here, and welcome to my channel. So we're going to take a look at Cryowar today because from a price action perspective, it has fallen significantly, and because we are in the middle of a bear phase of a lengthened cycle, it actually makes me very excited to keep accumulating Cryowar. So let's dive into the charts to see what we can see, okay? So before I dive into Cryowar, let me tell you a very good thing about this cycle as compared to the previous one. In the previous cycles, for example, the price action tends to be very simplistic. What I mean by that is, once the bear market is done, so for example, in the previous cycle back in 2014 all the way to 2015, once this has been completed, the bear market has been completed, it's really just a simplistic rise to the top, so to speak. You can imagine if you're caught up in this particular candle right here where you only got the crypto in October of 2017, then you have pretty much missed out on all the gains right here. But one of the good things about this cycle is, as much as it's painful to have your portfolio values slashed 50, 60, 70%, one good thing about this though is throughout the cycles, it has continually given us a lot of opportunities for accumulation. If we have missed out on the 2018-2019 accumulation right here, there was another accumulation period right here from July to March. If you have missed out on these particular opportunities right here, once again, we've had a 3-month accumulation period back in May to July, and right now we are once again in the middle of an accumulation before our subsequent continuation to the upside. This is very important when looking at a token like Cryowar, because we're in a bearish phase of a continued lengthened cycle, then your mindset for Cryowar should be, even though your average price was around this area right here, or even this area right here, the way you have to think of crypto investments moving forward, especially for our gaming cryptos, if you plan to hodl long, then you identify where are we in the cycle. Are we in an accumulation phase or are we in a sell-off phase? So right now, where are we? The price has fallen 92%. So do you think we're in a sell-off phase or we are in an accumulation phase? That's right, we are going to be in an accumulation phase. So looking at Cryowar on a price action perspective, right now where are we? From the all-time high of around $4.70, we have since fallen 92%. Is this the bottom? Not necessarily, because when we look at the prolonged bear markets in the previous cycle, altcoins really take the brunt of Bitcoin capitulation. So in this particular prolonged cycle, among the tokens that have survived, like for example, Cardano is a token that has survived, price can fall as much as 98%. So going back to Cryowar, what do you do? Because on one hand, it is possible, of course, that you can wait for a 98% correction. In that case, a 98% correction would mean that Cryowar will go all the way down to 0.09 cents. Do you need to wait for that price level before you come into the market? You could, but the risk level of this versus you getting left behind once the markets pick back up is pretty significant. Instead, the best way to treat Cryowar and similar investments moving forward is just bear in mind where we are. We are currently 92% below the all-time high right here and the potential maximum of 98% from the all-time high right here. Instead of trying to time this bottom that may never happen, what we need to do moving forward is we need to establish risk thresholds instead. For those of you who are not aware, a risk threshold is pretty much a price level where as long as the price is below that particular area, you would continue to DCA. But once the price breaks out of there, backtest it as support before continuation to the upside, then you leave this investment alone and you enjoy the gains and enjoy the ride. That is why it's called a risk threshold. It is the maximum price where once it breaks through that particular level that we have identified, you stop investing because the downside risk will now be higher than the upside gains if we continue to invest above that particular price. So for Cryowar, what are our potential risk thresholds? So there are a couple that we can identify here. One is this current zone right here is actually already a risk threshold in itself. What do I mean by that? When we actually map out where we are meeting resistance here, we're sort of meeting resistance at around this close right here. So this particular price level of 52 cents is becoming a resistance line for our current price action. This is actually a very nice risk threshold. So as long as price goes below the 52 range right here, then you continue to DCA, or if we hover somewhere around here but we fall back down, then that's your buying opportunity, and then it goes back up like this but we go back down, that's your buying opportunity. Or even if we hit it here, then we continue to go down like this, then you continue to DCA around the area. If you're slightly more aggressive, where you feel that Cryowar's potential is much, much higher and you can afford to risk a little bit more, the other potential risk threshold would be 90 cents. Why 90 cents? Because that is the low that we experienced right here when we flash crashed all the way down. And we also met it as support for a short amount of time before we eventually capitulated further. One good thing about the bear markets and establishing a risk threshold is because we have fallen so far from the all-time high right here, it allows us to not worry so much about day-to-day price action. Instead, we just have targets where if it's below it, we continue to invest. If it's above it, we enjoy the ride. If you like that video, hit like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you want me to make a video about your favorite gaming crypto? Be a Patreon subscriber so you can request for it. Being a Patreon subscriber helps keep the channel sponsor, shill, and Moonboy free. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.